Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. From Dusk Till Dawn. From Dusk Till Dawn is a 1996 American action horror film directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Quentin Tarantino. It stars George Clooney, Tarantino, Harvey Keitel and Juliette Louis. After enjoying modest success at the box office, it has since become a cult film. The film was conceived by Robert Kurtzman, who hired Tarantino to write the script as his first paid writing assignment. Plot: fugitive bank robbers and brothers Seth and Richie Gecko are fleeing the FBI and Texas police. They hold up and destroy a liquor store, killing the clerk and a Texas Ranger. Two witnesses they held hostage in the store escape during the shooting. The Geckos still hold a bank clerk hostage in the trunk of their car, whom Richie later rapes and murders. The Fuller family, Jacob, the father, and a pastor who is experiencing a crisis of faith, his son, Scott, and daughter Kate, are on a vacation in their RV. They stop at a motel and are promptly kidnapped by the Geckos, who force the Fullers to smuggle them over the Mexican border. Seth and Jacob make an uneasy truce. If the Geckos can make it past the border, Jacob and his family will come out of the ordeal unharmed. They arrive at the Titty Twister, a strip club in the middle of a desolate part of Mexico, where the Geckos will be met by their contact, Carlos, at dawn. The Geckos demand that the Fullers have a drink with them before leaving, despite Kate's obvious discomfort. Soon after entering the club, chaos ensues as the employees and strippers are all revealed to be vampires. Most of the patrons are quickly killed, and Richie is bitten by the star stripper Santanico Pandemonium, and bleeds to death. Only Seth, Jacob, Kate, Scott, a biker named Sex Machine, and Frost, a Vietnam War veteran, survive the attack. The slain patrons, including Richie, then come back to life as vampires, forcing Seth to kill his own brother. During this second struggle, one of the vampires bites Sex Machine in the arm. Subsequently, Sex Machine changes into a vampire and bites Frost and Jacob before Frost throws Sex Machine through the door, which allows an army of vampires to enter as bats from the outside. Seth and the Fullers desperately escape to a back storeroom and fashion anti-vampire weapons from items found therein, including a pneumatic drill, crossbow, shotguns, and holy water, which requires Jacob to recover his faith to bless. Jacob, knowing he will soon turn into a vampire, makes a reluctant Scott and Kate promise to kill him. When he changes, the four make their final assault on the undead. Jacob changes, but Scott hesitates to dispatch his father, allowing Jacob to bite Scott. Scott hits Jacob with holy water and shoots him. Scott is captured by several vampires who begin to devour him. Begging for death, Scott is shot by Kate. Only Seth and Kate survive, surrounded by vampires. Just as they contemplate suicide, streams of sunlight shine through new holes in the walls, making the vampires back away. Dawn has come, and Carlos is trying to shoot his way in. On Seth's call, Carlos' bodyguards blast open the door, letting in full sunlight and killing every vampire inside. Carlos admits that he had never entered the club, but that he had thought it looked like a fun place. Kate asks Seth if she can go with him to El Rey, Mexico, but he declines, saying, "I may be a bastard, but I'm not a fucking bastard." They go their separate ways after Seth gives Kate some cash. As they leave, it is revealed that the Titty Twister structure was actually the top of a partially buried ancient Aztec temple, presumably the home of vampires for centuries, and that hundreds of vehicles have been toppled down the side of the cliff. Release: From Dusk Till Dawn had its world premiere on January 17, 1996. On its first week, the film grossed $10,240,805 in the United States, making it the highest-grossing film of the week. The next week, the film fell to third highest in the box office. where it grossed $4,851,921, being beaten by Mr. Holland's Opus and Bed of Roses. From Dusk Till Dawn earned a total of $25,836,616 on its theatrical release. Reception. Rotten Tomatoes, a review aggregator, reports that 64% of 46 surveyed critics gave the film a positive review. The average rating was 6/10. The site's consensus reads, "A pulpy crime drama vampire film hybrid, From Dusk Till Dawn is an uneven, but often deliriously enjoyable B-movie." Metacritic rated it 52/100 based on 14 reviews. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars and described it as a skillful meat-and-potatoes action extravaganza with some added neat touches. In her review for the New York Times, Janet Maslin wrote, "The latter part of From Dusk Till Dawn is so relentless that it's as if a spigot has been turned on and then broke on. Though some of the tricks are entertainingly staged, the film loses its clever edge when its action heats up so gruesomely and exploitatively that there's no time for talk." Entertainment Weekly gave the film a B rating. And Owen Gleiberman wrote, "Rodriguez and Tarantino have taken the let-eat trash cynicism of modern corporate movie-making and repackaged it as junk-conscious attitude in From Dusk Till Dawn. They put on such a show of cooking up popcorn that they make pandering to the audience seem hip." However, in his review for The Washington Post, Desenhow wrote, "The movie, which treats you with contempt for even watching it, is a monument to its own lack of imagination. It's a triumph of bile over content, mindless nihilism posing as hipness." Cinefantastique magazine's Steve Biodrowski wrote, "Whereas one might reasonably have expected that the combo of Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez would yield a critical mass of nuclear proportions, instead of an atomic fireball's worth of entertainment, we get a long fuse, quite a bit of fizzle, and a rather minor blast." In his review for the San Francisco Chronicle, Mick LaSalle called the film an ugly, unpleasant criminals-on-the-lam film that midway turns into a boring and completely repellent vampire comedy. "If it's not one of the worst films of 1996, it will have been one miserable year." In Mark Savalov's review for the Austin Chronicle, he wrote, "Fans of Merchant Ivory will do well to steer clear of Rodriguez's newest opus, but both action and horror film fans have cause for celebration after what seems like a particularly long splatter drought. This is horror, with a wink and a nod to drive-in theaters and sweaty back seats. This is how it's done." Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.